I love a good sales conversation, and we are going to be talking about what's the most important part of the sales process. Renee, the boss Gambino, is the notorious influencer. She is dedicated to the relentless use of truth and transparency in sales, service, and in her life. Her MO is outthinking the competition, eliminating commoditization, and gaining unexpected market attention. And I am always excited about a sales conversation. So Renee, thank you so much for being on with us today, and I can't wait to dive in.
Awesome. Yes, I know that. I realize that you are definitely a sales superstar. So I was excited to get with you because I love especially women that love the sales conversation.
It's so fun to geek out over sales. And yes, can I just say that every time I do a sales video on YouTube and it ranks on the homepage, it is man, Amy, man. I'm like, come on, guys, like, we've got to own this sales conversation and stop shying away from it and stop pretending that we're only here to serve, not sell. I mean, we just have to change our internal script. So I would love to just hear a little bit about how you got started in sales and made your transition into becoming an expert in the space.
Well, in my other life, I spent 16 years in the holistic health field. I was a master body worker. And I had an incredibly fantastic and amazingly successful career in that world until I was just done. I had spent over 15,000 hours in the treatment room. I had worked on every car accident, slip and fall, break this, disease, soft tissue, whatever. And I loved it. And I served long and hard. And then I just realized I was done. And so I can tell you the mistake I made was being done and wanting to just be done. So I was like, I'm out. So, getting away from something. So I did this little spiral thing for about a year because when you're trying to get away from something instead of moving towards something, right? That's an issue. So from there, I thought I was like severing this old life, severing this, the past, and I'm moving on and moving forward and reinventing myself, redefining, blah, blah, blah. I was like in my early 40s. I'm going to be 50 this year. So
we look amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. And so with that said, with the mistakes that I was making, what I wasn't doing was asking myself, because I was doing business coaching because I loved business. I mean, I'd hired, I'd fired, I had practitioners, teams, doctors working for me. But I was finding myself not talking. I was talking about sales, but that was after we talked, right? Like the secret, right? Nobody wants to talk about sales. And so I had to look back and say, what made me so successful? And because I had a waiting list a year in advance. I mean, it was just for years. And what I recognized is what I actually was an expert in was cause and effect. It's what made me a good practitioner. It's what made me a good business owner. It's what made me a good connector. And so then I decided, hey, why don't you use your 16 years of experience and actually build upon that to teach people instead of saying goodbye to everything. So what I realized, what I love about sales is the fact that it's all a matter of cause and effect. It's all a matter of connection, communication, and conversion. And I had been doing it for many, many years. And once I gave myself permission to be like, oh my gosh, I love sales. I've always loved sales. So why don't I teach people what I'm actually a master at? So that's really what transpired, was trying not to talk about it until I needed to talk about it.
There's so many things I love about this because there are so many people in the health and wellness space who struggle with sales. And then you find these like lone people who pop up and they do really well in their business. And everyone else looks at it like, well, what are they doing? What's their magic? It's like, they know how to sell. They
Yeah.
can like convert on a package, and that's why their business is so strong. It's not magical. It's just a process. And I always like to say that sales is opening up the door to your service. And if you aren't willing to do it, it's like setting up a shop and keeping your door locked all the time and wondering why we don't have enough clients.
Exactly.
So when you are working with somebody on their sales skills, like where do you recommend that they get started? What's the most important thing they can do to make improvements?
Well, the first thing is I get very foundational, because the
Mhm.
people that have been in business their whole lives or doing sales, um, when I start working with them and we get really down to what sales actually is, they're actually like, oh my gosh, I've never really heard it be said like that before. And so I actually get very foundational. I don't care how long you've been doing it and how long you've been in business. So the first thing we talk about is the definition of sales. And the best definition of sales that I've ever gotten, that was handed down to me, was helping people make the best decision for themselves.
Yes, I love that.
That from there, see if I can change my light for you a little bit. That from there changes the game. It changes
Mhm.
everything. And from my old life, what I found out, yeah, my skills were amazing, but they weren't always amazing, right? I was really good. After 16 years, I hope I was amazing. After 15,000 hours, I hope I was amazing, and I was. But when I really broke it apart, Amy, what I recognized was my secret sauce was my intake, that
Mm.
initial conversation
Yeah.
before anybody got naked and got rubbed for money. Do you know what I'm saying? That really, it changed the course of everything. I'd have people asking me when they should come back, and I didn't even touch them yet. So that's because the intake was powerful. And that's what I help people understand, is that conversation.
You know, I think the power of a great sales script is so invaluable in your business. It's the best investment you can have, is getting a really great sales process for those conversations. And yet people resist it because they don't want to sound scripty, or they don't want to sound ingenuine or insincere. But I just recently had someone ask me the question, like, how do I make people feel more safe in a sales conversation? I'm like, have a good structure so that they know where that conversation is going and they can feel that there's a purpose and a path. I think all of us know when we're being sold to, and when someone is trying to pretend like they're not selling to us, that's when it gets uncomfortable. And that's when I think it feels insincere. So just being really straightforward and honest about, listen, this is where I see us being able to go together. This is what I can help you with, and letting them know what's coming. I just think it's the listener at so much more ease.
Yes. And when we understand actually how sales work, right, how we take information in and act on it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is not about manipulating people or psychologically messing with them. This is just literally knowing how you can help them hear what they need to hear, right? There's a
Yeah.
very specific formula for how people take information in and act on it so that they can actually digest it. And that's what's really important. I developed a 5-step system. It includes a script, and it works for everyone. The reason it works for everyone, because it's not built on selling. It's built on helping people make the best decision for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have to understand that people right now, their minds are so full that, they come in and they're thinking about their life and they're thinking about their challenges and what's going on at work, and their minds are so full. And if you just start giving them information, it's not landing inside of their brain. It's like it's hitting and it's just falling right off. And so you really do have to present your information in a way that it sinks in and it makes sense and creates space for people to think about it. And that's what that process really is just opening up so they have some space for it to actually land in. There's too many busy brains these days.
Yes, nobody wants information.
Mm-hmm.
We want value. We
We
want
don't need
value.
information. We can get
We
anything we need
don't.
to know online. And so like
Yeah.
that's one of the problems is I still see people selling through, let me tell you what I do, and let me tell you about my products, let me tell you about my service. They could have already looked up everything they needed to know online. They're looking for connection. They're looking for results.
Absolutely. And they're looking for someone that can help them communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a lead, listen, lead process. Like you said, a lot of people come at it with, well, hold on, let me prove to you I'm good enough and valuable enough and I know enough and I have enough skills. When none of that even matters until the person is ready to step into whatever it is they want to purchase. It doesn't matter if it's a product or a service. The one thing I can, if people can take this away, this would be huge, because everybody's afraid to sell. I need to be sensitive right now. I need to be compassionate right now. I need to understand people. Some people have money, some people don't. I can't figure this out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now is, look, as we say, unprecedented, right? It's weird, it's crazy, but sales doesn't work any different now than it ever did. It's still about how we take information in and make that decision to take action. It needs to be relevant to me. It still needs to be valuable to me. But the deal is that people are not afraid to make a decision. They're not afraid to spend money. What people are afraid to make a mistake.
Oh, that's good. You guys write that down. They're not afraid to spend money. They're not afraid to make a decision. They're afraid to make a mistake. That's really
and that's in every sales conversation on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can recognize that, number one, it removes us off the table, right? As the salesperson, get off the table, right? If you're not listening, if you're not coming in consciously connected, which you'll never get away with anyways, you can do it with a smile on your face, but energy is energy, right? You have to realize that that's why sales becomes helping people make the best decision for themselves, because that person is always going to be wondering, am I making a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with you, ever.
Yeah.
Ever,
it's their experiences and their stories. And
sure.
Absolutely. Well, I wish we could geek out on sales conversations for another hour, but we are about out of time here. What's the best way for our audience to get connected with you?
They can find me on my website. I highly recommend grab a discovery consult experience with me. Clarity, strategy, it's up to an hour. There is no charge. We don't know if we're a fit. You can hear my entire sales conversation. Do it. I mean, why not? So that's Renee, Gambino.com, and just book a discovery consult. I'd love to meet and help anybody that I can. But if you're wondering how I do it, I literally teach people how I'm talking at the moment. I will teach you as much as I even through it. You should walk away with at least a gold nugget. So do that for yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. And we just dropped the link into the chat. So thank you so much for being on with us today.